So this is the transmission, the bar from the back of the transmission gets bolted onto that, and this goes up and holds everything on through these holes. Well, there's a stud goes through your nuts. So this is where my throttle linkage cable goes. And when I had taken this out, I had really think that these are broken on this side here. Broken off because there were fresh brakes on there, and somebody had replaced that cable, and it connects with a threaded rod that goes onto the transmission. And I don't know, I just wanted to I crawled under 3 Greenbriers here, and they don't have this. They just have this under transmission, and then they have a long cable that goes through here and snakes up to the back for your throttle. Doesn't have this here. Doesn't have nothing going onto your transmission there like this one does. So I'm lost. I'm really lost about this. I'd ask Gary, but you know, it's a half hour away. And I looked in the books. I can't see nothing. I find the transmission stuff. I find the linkage that goes for your shifter to the transmission. I'm lost, but I do think these were broken off, and I'm just gonna weld a little piece on there. And I'm gonna heat these up and straighten these out. I'm gonna weld a little piece on there, and not this long. I'm just putting it maybe that long so I have something to hang on to. I'm gonna grind it off with that length there. And at least get something on there. Paint this, put it on the transmission, and call it good. If I'm under there and something's wrong, I can at least bend this or grind it. But if it needs it when it's under there, it'd be harder to weld, so I'll just put it on there now. Like I said, I can't find nothing. And I seen that these were 2 little fresh brakes on there. So I'm gonna put something like that on there. I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted to find a picture of that, and I can't. And then I looked under a bunch of transmissions property, and I don't see nothing like that. Maybe it's just a ramp side thing. I don't know. I'm lost with that. But heat that up a little bit and straighten them out. I don't think they're supposed to be bent up like that. I don't know. I can't find nothing to look at. Work with me. I just want to heat them up because I don't want to bend them anymore because they look like they've been bent a few times already. So it's a bit straighter. All right, straightened it out, yeah. And I'm just gonna wire it a little bit. Find our pair of gloves. I accidentally wore these outside, monkeying around. Oh, with those axles. Now they're a little greasy. I'm gonna get grease all over that side. See if I can dig up another new pair. All right, dug up some new Harbor Freight gloves. And Nothing too sharp on there. Our cable sits in there. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be or not, because it sits in this one and it gets clamped. This gets bent a little bit for the metal. There's a metal piece there, but this side here there's no metal piece, so it just sits in there. I don't know. I'll have maybe Gary look at that if I can get him over here. See what's the right way to have that. If it was me over here, I would cut this out a little bigger. Put some sort of a piece of rubber hose around that cable and get in there so it protects it more so it don't dig through. But it's a new cable someone put in, but I'm just gonna weld them on there. Phew. Cable runs through here and there's just a metal grommet on the one side and it's got the threaded rod where it connects to the side of the transmission. But over here it just got the metal piece right there, and you must bend in to hold it, and it's made with a cutout so it stays in there kinda, so it doesn't move back and forth. But this in here, there's nothing on that cable, it's just the sheathing. Like I was saying, I'll have Gary look at it. I'll get him over here one of these days, and if it's up to me, I would cut this out bigger, the die grinder, put a piece of rubber hose, gas hose or something over that piece and crimp this down a little bit to hold it rather than it digging in. I don't know, someone had changed that cable and it's new, but I said I think they broke these off and I can't find that anywhere around picture. And I don't have time to ask on the groups and see what they have to say. You know, I just want this part done today. If I have to go ahead and cut them off or alter it later when it's under there, it's easier than trying to weld this on under there and take it all back off. Yeah, okay. I think that's about all it's going to need. Because it was absolutely nothing on the other side. And something's better than nothing. I'm going to make it too thick because you won't bend it. Too easy anyways. Whew, dang. He's hot. That's hot. Yeah. All right. I'll flapper that a little bit. It don't have to be. Pretty it up a little bit. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same to that side. I cut these out of this. I just splice it, cut it down, cut them long. I already pre-ground it so it's not sharp. So we'll dig in. Nice, nice. That's real nice. So, I'm gonna stop messing with that. All right, I'll clean that up, cut them. Call good. I don't know if it's right or wrong. And file that. Yeah, your files. I got 1,000 million files here. I'm gonna file that. 1,000 million files. Just gonna file this down a little bit so it'll nub in there. Can't get my flapper in there because it's too I suppose I could use the cutoff wheel. Get it off a little bit now. And then I'll go see if she fits on the piece under there. And I'll make sure there's no burrs on the outside of that, because I don't want it cutting into it. Just at that one spot, I had a little weld on there. I think that's all I needed. So I hit out the wire wheel, call her good. All right, I'm going to check it. And this goes like that, but it doesn't matter. I can show you it upside down because that's the way it goes in. And it's got that little notch there, like that and like that. And I don't know if you just pinch these in a little bit, because I said one was missing and the water one was just bent. One was missing on each end. These ones here were. So there, it fits in there. So I just didn't like this side here. Zooming in. You can see that. A little blurry looking. I didn't like that this side here just has the metal on that there. So I don't know. This is a new. Someone put it on there. So, all right, I got it all cleaned up. I checked it like you seen. I even took the sharp burr off of the edge down here when they probably punched these babies out at the factory. A little sharp edge. If you would have went like that, you could have cut yourself on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this Canyon black. It's a satin black, Rust-Oleum. That's what I'm painting it. It's it's satin black. So she's done. All right, so I have been cleaning this here out. I haven't sprayed any. I've been using brake parts cleaner. I haven't sprayed nothing into it. I have just been, I've got these from Harbor Freight. They're very, very cheap. 175 pieces in there. I don't know. They were like $5-6 or something. They weren't much. Maybe they're on sale. They're like giant ear deals. Q-tips one side. I wasn't really using those in there because these do tend to fall off. They do tend to fall off. I've used those on Jill's sewing machines, cleaning out grease and stuff, and they fell off, you know. So I don't really use that too much on there. And what I did was just take the sticks, different size ones, and I was wrapping it up in the cloth and spraying it over top of another rag. And just cleaning around in there, you know. I use different size sticks of these. Use like 3 or 4 of them. And as they get a little hard, some of them I broke, but it wasn't too dirty in there. This is about what I got off of it. Wasn't much dirt in there, or whatever's in there. Like I said, I didn't spray the brake cleaner in there. Gary said just clean it up the best you can in there, so I did. I said just wrap it up. I'd spray that on there and just keep working in them. Keep working in them. Push a little hard. I still got some dirt in there. I thought I had it pretty good. Just a little dirt in there. I'll clean them a little more. Yeah, some dirt way down back in there a little bit. I thought I had it pretty good. I was sitting here. It's 80, about 86 over there by the fridge. It's probably 90 by this door. And nothing in there. I would assume down to the bottoms of them is where any of the dirt would be. So I'm just sitting here doing that. I painted this end. I just used the engine paint, painted it the silver. I was gonna paint it the gray, but that's high heat too, so good enough. No one's gonna crawl in there and look at it. So now I have to, besides I go over this a little bit more, I have to pull this pan, clean the screen under there, never had one apart, and I do have from Clark's a finned one and a new gasket. I gotta get that on there and done. That's what I'm doing next. And that's what I'm doing next on this. All right, I don't know if this is the correct way to do it or not. I got all the screws out but 2. And they are 1/2 inch. I will put a new modulator valve on this thing on the side too. I did see, I seen a picture of someone that rebuilt it and they had a nice shiny one on there, and I looked it up what it even was. I noticed have your vacuum line goes to it and it helps smooth out the shift from high to low or first to second, whatever the 2-speed is on here. And from what I seen, it said the bath one there does dry out. And I asked Gary, he says, well, did it work? I says, yeah. I said, because I had to replace the hose on there. And because it wasn't even connected, it was so dried up and junk, and I felt it shifting hard. Because this is the one, the Power Glide out of the 61 ramp. So I'm trying to keep them straight because I got the engine out of the custom Greenbrier here. I've covered this up and I put a piece of heavy brass on there. And I guess I have to get something to crack that open a little bit with. All right, I got a screwdriver and I got a gasket scraper. Maybe that would work in there too. Trying to drip on the bottom. There we go. It didn't take much. Just dripping on the bottom. Gary said there's a O-ring you got to replace in here too. So I had a cork gasket in there. There's the bottom of it. Oh, what is? Oh, I know what that is. I was like, what the hell is that? I put a piece of rag in here. Yeah, I put a piece of rag in there. Just this thing just kept leaking and leaking and leaking. So that's it. A little nastiness on the bottom. And that's the screen. I guess you got to clean. Oh, I'll ask Gary. I don't know. I'll ask him if he comes off or whatever. And a cork gasket on there. So I'll have to clean all that off. And yeah, okay, that's it. That's the screen. Just clean the screen, clean the gasket off. I'll ask him about the O-ring deal. And go from there. All right, I called Gary and he said use 2 screwdrivers and just pop it off. He said something had, yeah, maybe there's a screw there. I watched a video and it said some have a screw in it too, but I watched a video and the guy just took it. He popped it off too. I don't know. I always break stuff. It won't be all the way down there. I guess why does it seem so hard? I don't know, I guess. I'm always think I'm gonna break something, so I always I'm extra cautious. I don't want to break nothing. I can't get my screwdriver in there too good. Get here and there. Yeah, I guess it's coming off. Yeah. Coming off there, but not. Why is it like something's holding it there? Let me go get my flashlight. All right, I did watch a video in the house. Gary said take 2 screwdrivers and just pop it off. And there is I watched a video, I went in the house because my internet's not working so good out here. So I went in the house and the guy's like, sometimes there's a screw in them. And there's a screw in this one. I can tell Gary, this has got a screw in there. That's why he doesn't want to, I noticed the one inside, watching a video, the guy was just swiveling it around. And it's got a screw in it. Right there. Boom. I'm gonna stick it right back in there so I don't lose it. And Gary said, wash it out this way with parts cleaner through here, back out, so you don't blow, you know, that's just the way he said to do it. So there it is. And it's just got a little junk right here, not bad. The one, I seen the guy on a YouTube video, bottom of his pan was just packed and this screen was just black with stuff stuck into it real bad. So, I mean, he was actually had stuff he could just scoop out of the pan. So there, we're gonna clean that stuff up. I am going to spray carb cleaner, parts cleaner down in there out of the can and blow it out real good and clean the gasket off of there. So the gasket came out real clean, you know, came off pretty good. I got it off, the chunks, not really stuck on there much. It came off pretty easily. And then I went and took a razor blade and just carefully just, you know, scraped it clean. And it was getting stuck on here and here on these corners. How I see the aluminum was banged in a little bit. So I had just taken a file flatly, a fine file, and just smoothed it off a little bit. I cut the corners a little bit and just knocked it off so it lays flat. That's all I did. Nothing aggressive, nothing much at all with it. So I put this in there to catch anything. Yeah, got a little bit of stuff. We'll leave the mess in there. And we'll go ahead and get the rest of this gasket stuff off of here. Just carefully doing it. I turned the fan off so it doesn't blow anything into it. You know, if this thing was upside down underneath the vehicle, and stuff would just drop down. But yeah, I'm not digging into aluminum. I'm just carefully getting it. And then see, it's on the corners, probably where it was banged a little bit on the pan. Let's grab a little bit, not much, just a little bit with the razor blade. So we'll take the file and we'll clean that off. And we'll take and wipe anything off, wipe this all off in there. I think I'm doing it right. She's looking good. All right, I got it all nice and clean. I took a little transmission fluid and just wiped on there and touched on O-ring. O-ring seems fine in there. Gary said I don't have to replace it. It doesn't feel flat, so I'm not gonna replace it. And the one video I found on YouTube, he pulled it out and it was flat, but I'm not going to replace it. Gary said don't. And it seems nice and round. Okay, just cleaning up the screw. Some black stuff on the threads here a little bit. And I'm going to put that screw back in there. This one has a screw to hold it. Gary said just screwdrivers and yank it off. And I said, it seemed like it was in there pretty tight. But if it didn't have the screw, this thing should move back and forth because the hole, pickup hole is right there. It's down here. And the YouTube video I quick watched didn't have the screw in it. Neither in his. So I don't know how that would just hang and sit there. Alright, give it a nice snug turn. All right, there was no lock washer on there. Just like that. Okay. I didn't tweak nothing. I don't think so. When tweak nothing, like starting to pull us, like it seemed like it was on there, but so. All right, next is the gasket and the finned oil pan. All right, guys, here's my new Clark's transmission pan. I put the plug in. It came with a copper O-ring. This is the gasket I bought for it. I bought this stuff a while back for the custom one. And some of the stuff they didn't have available until they started manufacturing and putting it into production again. So I don't remember if it was this and valve covers. And it was like a year and a half later. And then I get a email, hey, you still want this stuff? And I said, yeah. So that's like the gasket. It's not a cork. It's not rubber. I think it was supposed to be the best gasket for this. Gary would probably be like, no, that's the wrong one. You shouldn't use that. But this was supposedly the best one. Whew. I'm telling you, it's like, well, 98 out today, but the humidity is like 34% humidity. I double checked, everything was nice and smooth on that. 34% humidity, so it is just steaming in here. Steamy, steamy hot. And I'd rather have it 110, 112 out and zero humidity. Nice and dry. Than this crap. But, let's see, by the end of October, it'll be nice. And then it's gonna be nice till sometime in May. Beginning of May, mid-May. Sometimes it gets warmer out. Gets warmer out a little earlier, but sometime in May it starts. By June, it's cooking. So there it is. I'll put all those in there and talk to Gary about how snug to put them. I do have a torque wrench, and this will be done. Cool. All right, I got her on there. I snugged them up a little bit. I'm gonna call Gary and find out what the torques are on these things, because I do not want to be stripping no aluminum out. Other than that, looks good. It's looking good. This is the fun stuff, bolting all the pieces on. That's why I know Gary was having fun over here putting that motor together. I was over here grunting, doing all the greasy junk work, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, now I'm gonna put the transmission mount back on. I got it all painted up, looking nice. I painted even the heads of the bolts. Put a light oil on them a little bit. These shims, actually there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them on each side, equal amount, and I was told that's how you use to get your alignment on your wheels or something. Your alignment, anyways, is the shims. So there's an equal amount on each side. Just blew them out a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything in them. I doubt it. But shouldn't be nothing in them. Shouldn't be nothing in them. And then we can hook these shims on there. Now they go like that or like that. Which way did they go? Yeah, that's the way to go. I think. I don't know. I have to go back and look at my video. Why would they go that way? You know? They fit on there either way. Either way, on this side, that side, they can't because you got the bolts. Oh yeah. I'm assuming you go that way, and you got, there's a way to stick something through there. All right, I got them on there. All right, guys, so I got the bar on here, and I'm gonna finish tightening these up. From what I can see, the shims can only go on the one way, because if it was on this way, there's some bolts sticking out, and this way here, if you put it the other way, I think it would be hitting on there. Pretty dang close, it would be rubbing on it, so. There's the stack of shims. They're to the outside each way. There's a hook on them, so they just hook down. I'm just gonna give it a a little snug on them. I mean, it's something you could always, if you had a lift or you crawled underneath your vehicle, it'd be easy enough to double check them if they're snug after a drive or two, you know. Very easy to check. I don't want to over tighten them, but there they are. Very nice. So I got this little tube that goes to the modular valve on the transmission, the side, it goes up, and it's got a little piece of rubber hose that goes into the tube that goes to the two carburetors on the bottom for vacuum. And it's got a little, I cleaned it off real nice. Gary's like, "You have it?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Clean it off." I said, "I have it clean." He goes, "Don't worry about the outside as much as the inside." And he's like, "Carb cleaner, choke cleaner, clean it out real good." And I was spraying it out, and I noticed this little hole. I didn't notice even when I was cleaning it. There's a little tiny rubber cut mark in there or something. So I'm gonna try to solder it. Solder it in. He said, the other thing is we can cut it, or I can cut it and put a piece of hose on it or two clamps on it too. Or I could try to find another one. But anyways, I am going to solder it. Oh, I don't need that. So it's right there. I was gonna grab my big torch and solder it. I don't wanna do that. Grab some solder. We'll just try to put a little solder on it and do it. See, I'll put some hose pressure on it and see if it works or not. I don't know. I can. Fill it up with solder. Yeah. Well, probably went somewhere, probably one side. I'll plug the hole up and then I will be cutting it. That's fine, then I'll cut it and put rubber on it. Get it on up. I don't know. Thought it'd look a little nicer. You always heat it up and put air in it and blow it out. Plug the end. Plug the end in. I don't know. I said if I got a bunch of it in there, sorry. If I got a bunch of it in there, I could always heat it up, plug the one in, stick my air hose in and blow it out. We'll see. So I went and put the air hose on it, and yeah, hardly any air. Actually, I tried blowing it. I couldn't blow hardly any air out. The solder went inside there. So I took the torch, I sat it, put that above it, put the air hose on there, and blew it back out. So now it blows out. So I'm just gonna, I guess I'll cut it, put a rubber hose on there. I won't ever slide nothing up all the way, so that's what I guess I'll do. Gotta have some vacuum for it to work. So, hey guys, I did find another, that vacuum advance tube that goes onto the side of the transmission without a hole in it, cutting it. And I got that cleaned up. And when I had Gary over here the last time, the other day, I picked him up and brought him over, and we had mated this together. And he had asked me, he says, "Did you replace the little O-ring in here?" And I says, no. I says, I ended up asking him about it because I remember him telling me something about this O-ring, and I had asked him, and I think he just misheard me, and he said, no, there's nothing in there. And so I had cleaned it, put it all together, and there's no O-ring in here, so I have to take this now apart and go ahead and replace. He said there's a bolt in there or something, and then get this out and put that new little O-ring. It's just a little tiny O-ring in there. It's rubber O-ring, nothing, no big deal. So I have to do that. Yeah, I don't have the governor on here right now because I couldn't find it. It grew legs and walked away, but I found it. And so I gotta do that. I did have a question about putting that on. There was just this is the old one, and it did work, but I figured I'd just put the new one on anyways. But there's like a little gasket in here. Real thin gasket, doesn't seem like the right size. I gotta see what's, this is just on there temporary for now because I gotta figure that out if I gotta put a different, there's a little real thin fiber gasket that was on this one. And I gotta look in the book to see, it seems too big. It doesn't seem correct. So I gotta check that out. And yeah, I do have the mount back off of it again. Hey babe girl. Checking on me. So yeah, this will be another video mounting these together, putting them together, and how to do it, how to check the shims in there, to shim it right and all that. That'll be an upcoming video. And yeah, you don't see what's under that right now. That's another upcoming videos. So that's it. Let's rip that apart quick. There's no fluid in here, nothing. It's not even, we didn't even tighten these real tight. And I did not tighten these down here anyways. I just kind of snugged them a little bit and that called it good enough. So that's that for now. And let's keep at it. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Corvair Addiction.